Yeah, what's up for a nightcap? Chill, you know, kick back.
Welcome to the Nightcap. It's Carolina Sanchez, and we're celebrating Juneteenth today. But before we get into the celebrations, we really have to learn the history behind Juneteenth. And it's important for me to come to 4th Ward or Freedmanstown to learn a lesson or two. And this is one of the only remaining structures, the Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, and there's a lot of history here. So I'm gonna go speak with Pastor Lou McElroy, who's gonna really take me back and teach me a lot of things that led to today.
And now I'm inside the church. I mean, you can actually hear my echoes, and I'm seated with Pastor Lou McElroy.
Yes.
You've got quite the mission, right?
Yes. Yes.
Especially with the amount of history that's in the Antioch Missionary Baptist Church.
Right. Well, let me begin by saying it is such an honor to have you and your team with me today, and just to spend a little time to learn and talk a little bit about who we are as a church and our little small piece of contribution to the history of this country, this state, and this city. I have a fortunate opportunity to serve a wonderful people and a wonderful congregation, and the community of the city of Houston is one that has been a part of our legacy for a long time. So welcome to Antioch. It's so good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about where we're at.
Sure.
So this church is a big piece of a much larger history. I mean, before we sat down, you talked about how you have to look at Juneteenth as part of American history.
That's right.
Texas history,
Right.
and then Houston history.
Yes.
And then even further down on that, Freedman's.
That's correct. And when we look at Juneteenth as American history, though it was established out of the liberation of the former enslaved ancestor in Texas, it's all predicated on the fact that not all adhered to the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863. So though it is a joyous occasion and one that should be celebrated not only in Texas, but all of the country, if you look at why we are here and the celebration of it as a matter of fact, you find that it is purely because some did not want to free their slaves and be obedient to the proclamation of 1863. So we find ourselves 2 years later having to do that, but now celebrate that. So it's a dual-edged sword, but
Right. Celebrating sad history, if you will, right?
yeah, it's a great history, but sad in the fact that it took 2 years. You're right. It took 2 years to give a people in Texas what was rightly theirs 2 years earlier in 1863.
And so let's talk about that
Sure.
period. So January 1st, 1863, Abraham Lincoln says, all right, all of the slaves in Confederate states, he didn't include Union states, are free.
That's right.
And so then he starts sending the Union troops down to, spread the word, and gets here June 19th, 1865. Jack Yates and several other slaves made their way here. What was that time period? I know you know a lot about your history, taking on this role.
Right. No, it's a great question, and it sets up the opportunity in which it can show the state of our country at that time. You're right in that Abraham Lincoln announced the Emancipation Proclamation, and many slave owners freed their slaves, and there were quite a bit yet who did not. Even those here in the state of Texas. And so we saw that as this resistance to the proclamation took place, that it was necessary that they send the Union soldiers who arrived in Galveston on that great day in June, and to make that proclamation that Texas needed to free its slaves. And so we see this culmination of resistance, but yet we see this overpowering of that resistance, in which the military was forced to come in to make sure that these slave owners who had not yet freed their slaves do so. You made mention of a good point, and that is the transitioning and the movement of our former enslaved ancestors, those who were not already here. The city of Houston at the time had slaves. The city of Galveston had a huge population of slaves as well. But you made mention of the Civil War and how the ending of that war, many white slave owners didn't resist it themselves, who were outside of the state of Texas. But in that resistance found their way to Texas. And our first pastor, Jack Yates, John Henry Jack Yates, was a slave in Virginia. And that is how he got to Texas. Born in 1828, for only 38 years later to be the first pastor of our church in Houston.
That's crazy.
Correct. So when you mention about this movement and this transition of a people, you see he's born in Virginia, but 38 years later, he's the pastor of this church, which says he was caught up in that movement of former ancestors and slave owners who did not want to free. The story goes is that as he was freed, a freed man, and his wife lived on another plantation owned by another slave master.
Hold on, you gotta pause right there.
The story goes is that as he was freed, a freed man, and his wife lived on another plantation owned by another slave master.
Hold on, you gotta pause right there.
Yes.
He was a freed man.
Freed man. Upon the proclamation of Abraham Lincoln.
Slave owner was, he abided by the proclamation.
Yes. And then as the story goes is that his wife's slave owner did not free her or his slaves.
So his wife wasn't even on the same plantation?
No, and that's the cultural part of our history, in that it was a strategic effort to keep the black family separated, that unit, that mother, father, husband, wife, child growing up, where your history and the legacy of so many other cultures are passed down generationally. You see this gap in education of one's self. And that was the way to keep a slave subdued, to steal his history, to steal his identity, and not have him learn of himself or his rich African culture. You change his name, you change his purpose, you change all of who he is as a man and a woman, and you remove his children and indoctrinate them in other ways, that the slave master saw fit. And that's what we see with not only Jack Yates and his wife, but across the American culture during that time. And upon hearing of the proclamation, his wife's slave master decided not to abide but resist, and heard about Texas. And Texas is a new state at the time, and Houston is a new city at the time. But what Jack did as a freed man is, once he found out, he went back into slavery to be with his wife and children after he heard that they were leaving him and the area. And so I tell people, but here's the thing though, when I tell people about our history and our legacy as a church, and when we look at this historic area of Houston called Freedman's Town, and how he and others were such a staple in putting all of this together by the sovereign hand of God, it amazes me that his whole reason for coming was simply because he loved his wife and he loved his children, in which he was able to sacrifice his own freedom to go back into slavery purely for love.
Right.
So this beautiful building and this beautiful structure and this beautiful area of Freedman's Town, and it's not only Jack Yates, but other former enslaved ancestors of our families who pooled their resources, but a love for family. The very thing that their slave masters tried to destroy was the very thing that got him here. I mean, it's a beautiful love story. Oh, it gives me chills as I think about it right now. Yeah.
To choose to go back into captivity for the love of your family.
Love of family, love of wife, love of children. And this is in the 1920-23. You can see the red brick structure of the outside of the church prior to its reconstruction in 1936. These individuals would have been removed from slavery about 50, 60 years.
Right.
And so they would have remembered those times for sure. These are the original beams of 1870, 1875 of the original construction. You can see the pickets that they drove into the frame.
I mean, this goes to their craftsmanship.
Right. I mean, these are the ingenuity and which built the country.
Right.
Yeah, and still standing, the quality of work. And so when we talked about the community, this is a room where a lot of our members come to meditate, pray. It's a very tranquil room that the spirit, but also the ancestors, can reach out and touch. A couple key points that resonate with me in this room.
That's what I want to hear. What's up, Pastor?
A couple points that resonate in this room. We had a reconstruction project in 1936, so it's in the middle of the Depression, right? Banking is not afforded, financing is not afforded to a people, and the Depression has hit the entire country. But yet, as even our ancestors then thought of making this worship space even better for the generations to come, where I can worship and you can worship and visit and conduct this interview today, they did some couple of unique things in order to circumvent the lack of financing that was available to most of the country, right? Take, for instance, our stained glass windows here. You can see that it gives a biblical reference, but also at the bottom of the window is the focal point that I want to draw on. Every stained glass window in our church is sponsored by either a ministry, a family, or an organization that's tied to this church. So they would have sponsored that window, paid for that window themselves, and just pooled their resources, even in the middle of a depression.
Right.
Now, don't laugh, but this one is this is probably my most favorite piece in this room.
All right, so I'm about to laugh.
Right. No. And when I say laugh, I'm just saying the ingenuity piece of it. This is a old frame of a door. You can see the hinges on it. We're speaking to the same era of 1936, right? We've got to pay for the reconstruction and of the building. And so there's a button campaign that apparently went on, and you paid 25 cents for the button to help get the church out of debt, and you had until October 5th to turn it in, right?
Yeah.
Now here's the funny piece for me, but also it shows in spite of 25 cents in 1936 was equivalent to $5.75 today.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we're talking about in the middle of a depression, jobs are being lost, food is scarce, right? There's fear across the country, but here at this church, in order to continue to further and provide a sacred place of worship, they've sacrificed $5.70, big money back in those days in the middle of the depression. But we leave this here, and we like to tell this aspect of our story to remind us that no matter how bad it gets, you can still find a way to make it better, to work yourself and work with others to supply what you need, you know.
And the community will show up.
And the community will show
listen,
up.
It happened.
That's right.
Welcome back to the Nightcap. It is Juneteenth, and we just went through some history in Freedman's Town, going through the history of Antioch Missionary Baptist Church. But now we're in 3rd Ward on Emancipation Ave at the historic The Savoy. And I'm here with the co-owners, Long and Black, a couple who own this joint.
Yes.
And you have a beautiful spread here.
Oh,
What is this?
yeah, this is like heaven on earth.
Okay, yes, I feel it. I'm seeing it. I'm salivating.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
got catfish with grits. We got this salmon salad. You know, We got lamb chops and asparagus.
Yep.
Shrimp and grits.
Oof.
The world famous empanadas, lamb empanadas. And lobsters.
Hold on. What you? Sorry, I had to swallow because the, lamb chop empanadas.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I don't want to reach over and be rude, so I'm gonna start right here with the catfish and grits.
Okay.
All right, so the Savoy.
Yes.
It's a place to come enjoy some food, to have some good drinks, and this is the Emancipation frozen drink.
Yes, on Emancipation. Yes. She's having the Emancipation on Emancipation.
Hello.
Yeah.
That is a way to
y'all.
celebrate.
We on
Well,
the
cheers
app.
to that, right?
Hey, come on.
Cheers to
Hello,
that.
hello.
Cheers.
And so it's Juneteenth. You guys celebrate. I love that, baby. Yes.
Yes.
You guys celebrated big. So today's Monday, but over the weekend you guys had
A blast.
a blast.
A blast.
Blast.
Yeah, we did a family festival. We had all the kids out. We animals, jumpy house, water, food, snow
Game
cones,
trucks.
games. Yeah, it's all about family, community, enjoying ourselves, entertaining all adults and kids.
A good time like is happening in my mouth as
That's
well.
right.
It's
Yes,
like catfish
yes,
and
yes.
grits, right? But the Savoy isn't just a great time to come today. It has been for years. It's historic, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, without a doubt.
Yeah, we've been here since the 1940s.
What does Juneteenth mean to you two?
Well, Juneteenth means people coming together and celebrating a common cause. It's special. I think everybody should experience it. I think everybody should know what it's about, do their own work, and dive into it.
Yeah, it's about liberation, right?
Liberation.
Yes.
I think you come here and feel free for a bit, right?
Yeah, some good vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, you were telling me that this was a place to get a setup, and I did not know what a setup was. So for people who don't know, like me, unfortunately, you educated me.
Yeah.
What is a setup exactly?
Well, a setup is where you come to a place, you bring your own bottle,
Okay.
and they charge you for ice, your cup, and whatever if you wanted orange juice, cranberry juice, or whatever your side thing to mix with your alcohol, and you pay for that, and that was the setup.
Oh, that's the setup. So like a BYOB, you bring your own bottle.
Yes.
So
But we'll
before
set you
cocktail.
up with the bottle service.
Yes, it was before cocktails.
Oh, before mixed drinks was even a
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Before it was a thing.
So people
That's
could
how
come
you
to the Savoy and get a setup.
get a setup.
that's it.
This was a space, the spot for the setup.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, but this is still a setup, baby. You setting me up with a grand meal. Okay.
Right?
I love it. Well, thank you so much. But I want to know how to make this. And I know this is only frozen,
It's
right?
frozen, yes. However, we got a real expert behind the bar at the Savoy. at all
Sheena's up
times.
to the task?
I bet she's up to the task.
All
Let's
right,
go ask
listen,
her.
this is delicious. So we're going to find out if she can make this not frozen.
Okay, let's do it.
Well,
Hollywood.
cheers to Juneteenth.
Cheers to Juneteenth.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
And you
for
stay right
coming.
there because I'm heading behind the bar and we'll just see how I do. All right? We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Nightcap. It is Juneteenth, and we've been celebrating it here at the Savoy in 3rd Ward. I'm behind the bar now because I was drinking an Emancipation, Sheena.
Yes.
And I have given you the impossible task of deconstructing the frozen drink into an on the rocks drink.
Yes.
I know you don't have all those ingredients that go into the frozen, but we're gonna make a little
We're
something.
gonna make it anyways.
Okay, let's
All
go.
right. So we're gonna start off with our 2 ounces of Repo.
Okay.
And our liquor of preference today is Casamigos.
All right. A perfect 2. There
Yes.
you go. Ooh, I spilled some. Darn 2.
It happens, it
Getting
happens.
rid of the alcohol.
All right, so after we put our 2 ounces, we're gonna add an ounce of lemon juice. So it's gonna be the first line that you see.
I'm already messing up.
Perfect, but you're
Listen.
still on the right measurements.
Thank you.
Still
thank
on the
you.
right measurements.
I'm wasting time is what I'm doing.
All right, so after that, we're gonna do the short side you just used,
Okay.
and we're gonna do 0.75. So that's
yeah,
gonna go
actually,
to the.
you go first. Yeah.
It's gonna go to the 3rd line. It's gonna
Okay,
look just
perfect.
like that.
Got it.
Right?
How long you been doing this, Sheena?
At Savoy or just
No,
bartending?
in life.
Oh, 10 years.
10 years. All right, so you know.
10
you
years,
know
yes. I know my way around the bar.
I've been doing this like less than 10 months. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna add 0.5 of
Okay.
pineapple juice.
And
And
that's
that's,
that first line.
yes.
This one?
Yep.
All right. I'm learning.
All right, and then the same thing for the strawberry.
Ooh, strawberry. That's what's gonna give it that beautiful color,
Yes,
right?
that's gonna give it the beautiful color. Perfect. Just for a little extra, we're just gonna
Ooh, okay.
give them a little bit more strawberry
A little more,
because
yep.
it wouldn't be an emancipation without the strawberry.
Hello. Oh, that's pretty. We gotta get that essence, baby. Okay. Yes. All right. The
Cheers.
mad scientist, did we do a good job? I mean,
It's actually pretty good. I like
pretty
it.
good.
I would drink it.
I'm gonna drink this. This is good. You know, you got that extra.
It's not bad for not being a frozen, but it's really good.
Yeah.
I still would prefer the frozen.
Yes. I mean, and that's what you guys have, right?
Yes,
If
yes.
you come to the Savoy, you want to come and have the Emancipation frozen. All right, and thank you for joining us on this Juneteenth. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers.